I think today there is a sentiment of unease because of how the game looked. You know, like if I told you before the game, hey, Broncos are going to win this one 31-13, you wouldn't think there'd be any strife or debate about how it went down.
I would say, okay, Bo Nix probably threw for 3 or 4 touchdowns. I mean, we went crazy. Defense played well. Like, it was a great game.
Yeah, and I understand there's fans out there today who are
being spoiled,
like dissatisfied.
Yeah,
they're like the win, but are like upset that how it came down or what. I think for me on a day like today, it's like, look, it's not perfect, and we're going to talk about some of the imperfections, but like on the day after the game, I think it's okay to allow yourself to be thrilled with the position that the Broncos have put themselves in here.
We have earned the right to be able to be happy, to be excited, to smile, to brag about your team. We're talking about the Denver Broncos having their first winning season since 2016, and they still have an opportunity to finish it off with 12 wins if they can win out. Now, we'll see how that goes, but we're a winning team this year. We need one more game, and we solidify ourselves as a playoff team. We should all be happy. Now, like I said in our crosstalk, if you're a player and you're on the offensive side of the football, you may feel differently about this game.
Sure.
You're happy you won, but you want to be the reason why you win.
Sure.
Someone like Bo's like, I want to be the reason why we win. Someone like Sean, who's offensive coordinator, not just the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to feel some type of way. You know the feeling we always talk about how you can win, but you feel like you lose?
Yeah.
Maybe the offense feels like that today. It's like, hey, we didn't do enough for our defense. We didn't do enough as a team, and we still won. We still put up 31 points.
Right.
That's what people should be thinking right now.
Phil, we, during this Bronco stretch of time, went a full year without cracking 24 points. A year, an entire NFL season. 24.
Oh, we forget fast, don't we?
31 against the Colts yesterday, 41 against Cleveland, 29 against the Raiders, 38 against the Falcons. That's a 4-game win streak where you did for a month straight of games what former Broncos teams couldn't do once in a year. So, yeah, and we're going to talk about the imperfections, but at the same time, it's almost like we talk about Thanksgiving. It's like, yeah, your life is not perfect. We all have trials and tribulations and stuff going on. But if you look around in the right places, you got a lot to be thankful for. And that's what it feels like today in Broncos country.
And it's going to feel like that tomorrow and the next day. And then guess what? You turn around, we have another game to be played.
Here we go.
We have another game to be played. So we should definitely be thankful for this opportunity to be cheering, for this opportunity to be in a spot where we're going to the playoffs, guys. We have a 90. Is it a 90 or is it over a 90% chance?
It is. I believe it's 92. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll have the exact number.
So we have almost over a 90% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is insane.
It is.
I'm a little jealous. I'm like, dang, how come I couldn't be on a team that was going to the playoffs? But that's just how it goes. That's just how the cookie crumbles. But for Bo Nix and the defense and the offense and the special teams and the offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, they're doing a great job, man.
Well, before we went to break, Phil, I said the more things change, the more they stay the same. And that's not a good thing for Bo Nix and this offense. How is the run game this bad coming out of a bye? This bad? I mean, Phil, they had 15 yards from running backs in the first half of the game. They finished with less than 50 yards total from running backs.
Yeah.
How? How is it this bad? I'm not expecting it to be great, but how is it this bad?
Yeah. You know what, Zach? I sat at the dinner table today. I'm like, man, how can I battle? Because I know Zach's going to be upset. I know Zach's going to say, you know what? Why are the running backs bad right now? And you're right. It's unacceptable. The running back should be doing a little bit better. The offensive line should be helping the running backs out a little bit more. Sean should be helping the offensive run game out a little bit more. But it comes down to this. Right now, our identity, I came up with, I'm like, okay, what is the Denver Broncos offensive identity right now? Right now, our identity is pass first, run second. Pass first, run second. Some teams are run first, pass second. Like their identity, like the Chargers, are going to be a run first team.
Sure, Steelers.
For us, it's a pass first team.
Yeah.
The thing with a pass first team, when you're dealing with offensive linemen, there's two ways offensive linemen think. when they're running the ball, it's aggressive. It's downhill. It's 320 pounds, 315 pounds of force just going downhill. That's easy. When an offensive lineman has to sit up and block and pass protect and backpedal, I like to say they can get a little lazy. And when you do it enough, and then you're telling an offensive lineman to turn the switch and now it's time to go downhill, that's not how it is. It's a mental game.
Wait a second, Phillip.
Uh-oh.
Are you putting this on the offensive line?
I'm not just putting it on the offensive line. I'm putting it as a whole. It starts with the O-line. It starts with the running backs, but it starts with Sean. It starts with Sean saying, hey, I don't care if I get 1 yard, 2 yards. I'm going to continue to be consistent and stay consistent as possible. I'll give you an example. The Steelers. The Steelers are not a great running team, but they run the heck out of the football.
They do.
It helps. Sean wants to do a lot of play action. Well, how do you do that? You have to run the ball enough for you to have a successful play action play. You have to get the defense to move up. Right now, guess what? It's 3rd and 1.
I see. Yeah.
It's 3rd and 1, Zach.
Unbelievable.
We do a play action in the defensive linebackers and safeties backpedal like it's 7-on-7, like they know that the Denver Broncos aren't going to run the ball. That's an issue.
It is.
That's an issue.
It's very much an issue.
You mean to tell me Estime can't get 1 yard?
See, I think now I got to watch because I know the Broncos have generated explosives on that 3rd and short scenario this year. I know that they have. But it is not healthy to be throwing as much as the Broncos do on a 3rd and short. That's just it's fundamentally it goes against like my own little football instincts.
It hurts Bo. And that's why Bo is throwing interceptions because now you're one-dimensional. And Sean even said it going into halftime or coming out of halftime. He said, we got to start running the ball a little bit better. We can't be one-dimensional. Well, Sean, if you want to run the ball more, you're the offensive coordinator. Run the ball more. People are going to be upset. It's not going to look sexy. We don't have the running backs like Jonathan Taylor that's going to break for a 41-yard touchdown and hopefully hold on to the football. No. But you got to keep a defense honest.
Right. But
so what was
I don't know what the solution is. And here's the thing. I don't think there is a solution. I don't think there is a solution. I think this is the collection of backs. Sean is not perfect with it. The offensive line is not perfect. But to have this limited amount of production on the ground, it is, and I said this to you the last 2 weeks, it is a Christmas miracle that Bo Nix put himself in the Rookie of the Year conversation with this lackluster run game. Because everyone says the best friend of a rookie running back is a good run game. And the Broncos, their run game is actually being propped up by the rookie quarterback that they're supposed to be producing for and with.
But tell me this. Why do we expect a running back to get going after just getting the ball 6 times? Like, tell me. Like, I'm not trying to take up for Javonte and Jaleel and what they're doing. But 6 times? I think Jaleel touched the ball maybe 6 or 7 times in the first half. And that's sparingly. You got 2 quarters. That's 30 minutes of football.
Yeah.
You could give somebody 3 carries the first quarter, 3 carries the second quarter, and that's how you get your 6 carries.
Yeah, no, look, I am not going to tell you you're wrong. Because
like,
I don't think you are.
You're expecting them to bust for 80-yard runs? I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody. Like,
I'm talking about maybe one for 13. Maybe one for 14.
But you have to build up. JT built up. The first couple carries were negative runs.
Yep.
All of a sudden you look up, it's an 18-yard run.
Yep.
All of a sudden you look up, it's a 13-yard run. And then you look down the line and he's untouched for a 41-yard, could have been a touchdown.
But for JT, it's like, okay, we know it didn't work 3 times in a row. But, man, we know he just ran for 96 against New England, 114 against Buffalo, 105 against Houston. With this run game, with each rep of lack of success, it only validates all the previous weeks. So I'm not telling you you're wrong because I think you're right. I think the Broncos can stick with the run more. But I do almost have, and this is a bizarre sentence, I almost do have sympathy for Sean on a game day as he's calling plays as a former quarterback with the eyes of a quarterback.
What?
And you hand the ball to Jaleel and Javonte over and over again, and it's like 7 out of every 8 weeks, it looks like it did yesterday.
But tell me this. How can you feel sorry for Sean when Sean's calling the plays, when Sean can go in there and be more creative with the run game? I literally asked somebody that's around the building, and I asked about the run game and about why you guys don't do pulls, why you guys are not pulling your guards. and that person said, I don't know why we're not pulling our guards and our tackles at times, but we have plays in there. Why is Sean not running those plays?
I don't know. I don't know.
But see, that's the issue. It's like, Sean, you want these offensive linemen and these running backs to get you 4 or 5 yards, but are you setting them up for success? When you're a pass-first, run-second team, you're telling me that you're setting the run up by the pass. But when your pass is not successful, or you have someone like Cortland that has 9 targets and only catches 3 of them, how's the running game going to get you going? You can't just tell a running game to flip the switch. You guys go out there and be the guys today. It's something that you have to work on religiously throughout the process of the year, throughout camp, throughout the first game, the second game. It's a buildup.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the playoffs, it's ready to roll. It's hot and ready, and you can get going with it.
Well, me saying I have sympathy for Sean on game days, that's why I said it when I said it. I'm like, this is going to be a sentence because it's not perfect. But I understand why it is a pass first a team. I don't know, like, and Phil, I understand about having your guards pull, but you shouldn't need your guards to pull on every single run. That, like, the lack of success, it's alarming.
But you need some creativity.
And it's not new. This has been the case all throughout the year. Whereas, like, Sutton, right. And you pointed out Cortland, like, hey, you got 9 targets, pulled in 3, not his best game, and we'll talk about him, but at a certain point in time. But it's like Cortland's has put together a season where it's like, man, you look at that game yesterday, I thought it was like even though he caught the touchdown, I thought it was like a C- game from Cortland.
Yeah.
Drops on 3rd down, had a drop in the end zone that higher degree of difficulty, but he has shown us he can make.
Got into it a little bit with Sean on the sideline.
I saw that.
Because Sean is so detailed of, hey, I want you to get to 19, 20 yards. I think Court went to like 18 or 17. Bo gets picked off.
Right.
And now you're blaming Court for not getting deep enough in your route.
And I don't know the details on that, and maybe you're right about that. But it's like, at least with Sutton, you're looking at a guy who's putting together like a top 10 season, so he has a game like yesterday, and there's some wiggle room of grace for him. The running backs, again, I'm not like, it's not personal with any of these particular guys because we've rooted for all these guys and we continue to root for these guys. But it's like, when you have the lack of success, it just validates what it's mostly been week in and week out.
Well, this run game is not going to be above average. This run game is not going to just turn it on. So if people are thinking, hey, all of a sudden this run game is just going to go for 200 yards, that's not how it works. You have to work on it, Zach, like I've said. You have to work on it, and Sean's not willing to do it. Sean wasn't willing to take the time during camp to work on inside drill more often than not. Sean was not willing to, during the season, to give the running backs more carries. Like I said, we don't have these explosive running backs like a Jonathan Taylor or Joe Mixon.
No, right.
But you have what you have. There's ways that we can still be successful. We're going to have to be successful on the ground if we're going to win a game in the playoffs when it gets cold. We can't throw it 40 times and think you're going to win.
No, and that's the thing. And look, these are fun conversations because it's like, who would have thought about, your lack of a run game impacting a playoff win or loss, because we weren't thinking like that. But of course you're right. If the Broncos go out and they think they're going to go into Pittsburgh or Buffalo or Houston or you fill in the blank without a run game, they're going to get dominated.
Yeah.
So I'm about to say they have to find a way to fix it, but with 3 games left in the year, it just kind of, like you
just
say
run
this.
the ball. Just run the ball more. Jalil had 7 carries. He got hurt. Javonte had 6. Audric Estime had 5. Like, just tell me, Zach, like, what are you expecting these players to do with 5 carries? Like, break for 100 yards? Like, it's so hard to break in the league. So tell me, Zach.
They need to do a better job of sticking with the run. They do. I'm not going to disagree. But I find it understandable how, in a game day with the pressure of the situation, why they would bail on it early, because the lack of success is just, it's wild. I mean, this is Javonte Williams, 4 of his last 5 games, 2.5 yards a carry, 0.3 yards a carry, 0 yards a carry, 1 yard a carry. That almost seems impossible.
The carries, though. It's like if you give him 15 carries, he's got to break at least 1. Like that's what you're telling somebody, like as a running back.
But why would you think he would have to break one if you gave him 20 when he's had 130 on the year and doesn't even have a run for 21 yards?
Because when the run game starts to go, people start to get tired. You start to get out of place. One of those times, the offensive lineman is going to get the right block, and it should be for a bigger run. Run. That's the idea of running the football. Like Jonathan Taylor got the ball 22 times.
Yeah.
Now it's just one running back. You know you're going to run him. Someone like Jaleel, you get 7 and you get knocked out of the game. It doesn't help you, and it doesn't help my case of like, hey, Jaleel should be the starting running back.
Yeah.
But then you have Aldrick Estime that doesn't get in the game until Jaleel gets hurt.
Right.
Like, what's going on in that situation?
I honestly just think you have to – I can't believe this because we're going to advocate for another starting running back here when it was Jaleel last week. But do they just have to turn this thing over to Aldrick Estime? Well, let's put a pin in that.
Put a pin in that. I think I'm going to go get my helmet on.
Phil, seriously.
And see if I can
let's get you on a 10-day. Let's get you. They got 10-day contracts in the NBA. Let's see if they could just work you in there.
Now, if I'm not successful, you can't be bagging on me on here now.
Oh, yes, we will. Yes, we very much will. Your former teammate, Jonathan Taylor.
JT.
That sequence is, for me, tied with the biggest sequence of the entire football season, going back to the Raiders game, in which the final score said 34-18, but Broncos are about to be down, 17-3, something like that. The Raiders are going in with a 10-3 lead. They're on like the 2-yard line. Pat Surtain has a pick six, flips the game. Broncos end up running away with it. This sequence with Jonathan Taylor is, could you imagine if the shoe was on the other foot? Could you imagine? Because I've been in here reacting to games where like Melvin Gordon has fumbled like inside the own 20 and it swings a game, and I'm just like out of my mind. I'm trying to imagine Broncos country's reaction with the season hanging in the balance of a running back letting go of the ball willfully, a choice before he gets in the end zone. Channel your running back spirit. Help me understand.
Well, dang, first of all.
Help me understand.
I feel like this is life or death. Like it's so dramatic with it, but you are right.
It would be. It was their playoff life or death on the line. Their playoff probability is now 6%. And you could point to that play for the central reason why.
Zach, it's unacceptable, truly. For someone like Jonathan Taylor, that literally you score that touchdown, who knows if the Denver Broncos win the game. The momentum swings in your favor, and you have all the juice, and you're changing the way that you're thinking of the game now. You're not going out there being aggressive passing. You're going to try to bleed more of the clock. You're going to run. You're going to try to take control of the game.
Yeah.
But for Jonathan Taylor to go out there, get untouched, he had an untouched touchdown, almost touchdown. People stop running after you, and you relax, and you think, hey, I have it in the bag. I can't wait to do some cool trick, which JT gets into the end zone, does his little dance, but forgets the football.
Incredible.
And now it hurts you.
Incredible.
And I text JT because
you did. You reached out to him.
I did yesterday night. And I pretty much said, look, Jay, like you can't let this moment define you. You're a really great running back, and you just made a bonehead decision, truly. But you live and you learn from it. But also thank you because it helped us out. It helps us out. It puts momentum in our favor, and we needed it. Now, for Jonathan Taylor, it hurts him. It hurts his team, and people are talking about him the whole entire week because of what you do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was a viral moment yesterday that you were a part, that not only are you a part of, you're the only star in this moment. You were literally untouched. That's just rare to have an NFL touchdown where you are untouched.
That a 41-yard touchdown, that's a running back's dream.
Right.
A 41-yard, a 41-yard touchdown.
Crazy.
And you give it up. You give the touchdown up, and now you lose the game for your team. It's insane to think.
It is, and the Broncos are the beneficiary. This was Sean Payton after the game talking about the significance.
That was significant. I don't get it, but I'm not going to try to. Yeah, I don't know what that was going to be. Yeah, it was a significant play that you go from breaking a long run for a touchdown for your team to us having the ball. So, yeah, there was a number of plays, but that was one of them.
And here's Sean Payton later in last night's press conference asked how difficult it'll be for that team to recover.
It's a fair question. I can't recall covering that. It wouldn't be a teaching point. Yeah, I think that'll be difficult for the coaches and everyone of his teammates. It'll just be difficult, and I don't get it. And so, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to say something, but anyway.
And I'm remembering back to watching the press conference last night on my phone, is that he was asked, hey, is this a teaching moment? And he would not even go there as a teaching moment. And he said, I want to say something. I don't want to get myself in trouble. I believe that Sean Payton, and by the way, just to reemphasize, no way, shape, or form disrespect to Jonathan Taylor, the person, in any way. I'm sure he feels so terrible today. And I don't even have to say I'm so sure. Of course he does.
He feels bad.
But Sean, when asked, is this a teaching moment to show your guys, he literally said no, because I think he wanted to say, you are like an idiot if you ever tried doing that. It's not even worth going over, hey, let's talk about this. Yeah. You just never, ever, 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 ever do that. And if you do, and you're one of my guys, like I want to hear how he would answer that press conference after a beer, a latte.
Do you think he'd be like, I would cut you? Because what more can you do? Like, you're gonna cuss him out? Okay, cool. You're gonna what are you gonna do? Because I'm not gonna say it happens, but mistakes do happen.
Yeah. Are you Jaleel or Javonte?
See, that's the difference.
Or you're Jonathan Taylor?
If you're Jaleel or Javonte.
Yeah. If you're Jaleel or Javonte and you did yesterday what Jonathan Taylor did, I do not think we see one more carry from either guy this year.
So then you pretty much should just cut him.
Yeah.
Now, if you're Jonathan Taylor.
What do you think on that one before we do JT? Your season is on the line.
Season's on the line.
You have a chance to push it to 20-7. You don't get touched on a dream run, and by choice, you just drop the football. Do you think Sean Payton's throwing those boys back out there?
I think he has no choice, because who else do you have after this season? I'm cutting them all. Right. I know I got 3 games left. If I get rid of both of them, or the one that decided to do that bonehead decision, he's not coming back.
Right. I actually think Sean Payton would use it as an example, and whoever did that would get cut, because the likelihood, I think Jaleel has a better chance of coming back than Javonte. Yeah. Javonte's end of his contract, you're going to move on. Estime, he's still on a rookie deal. Like, if it was Javonte, I bet he would get cut.
Ooh. So you think he would just be done?
He would be done.
Hey, look, you're not performing. You're not being productive out there. We're just going to cut ties with you. I can see Javonte. Now, Jonathan Taylor. If it was Jonathan Taylor on the Denver Broncos, what happens?
He doesn't get cut. He doesn't get cut. It's the old, who said it, I think Jimmy Johnson, when he was the coach for the Dallas Cowboys, said the third string running back is asleep in the team meeting. I'm cutting him. As Emmitt Smith is asleep in the team meeting, we'll wake him up. So, I don't know. I cannot imagine doing this job in Indianapolis on a day like today. I just can't. I can't.
I just can't imagine what JT is truly feeling, because I've lost a game for us before, not for here in Denver that I can remember, but for my team in college with the Buffs.
Yeah.
3 fumbles on the ground, guys, 3 of them. And we were driving down the field, and 2 of them, I fumbled the ball, and I felt so bad. I felt like the world was ending. I didn't want to come out the locker room. My father had to come and get me out the locker room. I apologized to my teammates so much that I got tired of saying sorry.
Yeah.
And that whole week of practice, it was on my mind to prove that I don't fumble the ball and that this was just a mistake. And it's hard to prove that when you fumble 3 times in one game. And maybe that's why when I got to the NFL, I was like, I'm not fumbling this ball. I know the hopes and dreams are in this football, whether it gets knocked out or I just put it on the ground, because I'm just trying to be smooth operator and have a cool dance. It can't happen. So I know Jonathan Taylor's feeling bad. It helped us out, though.
It really did.
Broncos country, let's go.
Like, in a way that is remarkable and should never be counted on again. It's a total one-off moment in the biggest game of the Broncos season, when you're about to face one of your biggest deficits of the season, and the football gods just wiped it away.
Well, you know what? The football gods have continued to help the Chiefs out. Why not us? Why not us?
Yeah. Well, Things may be correcting over there. Do you see Mahomes
Yes. Banged up.
and the amount of games pressed into a short period of time?